Right. Hey everyone, this is GeoWill with Productions², and we are back tonight to do some more streaming for our plugins here. Particularly the Advanced Weapons plugin right now, but eventually we'll be going into those two as well. So, last night we kind of discovered a weird thing that was happening. Well, a couple weird things. First, whenever we were adding traits to a weapon, all the instances of that weapon would get those traits as well, and the changes to the traits. And we also saw that there was an issue where there was EXP actually being added instead of removed. So I've actually managed to figure out both of those and fix them. So if you remember last night, I had mentioned that I thought maybe somehow, because of the way we were assigning the traits to the weapon instances, that might be the reason why that was happening. Then I immediately dismissed it as there's no way that could happen. That is what was happening. To give you an idea of how messed up that the whole thing was, the traits were even being added into the database weapons as well. So even the stuff in data weapons was being changed. That's how messed up it was. So to fix that, what I did was I just put in some more code in the weapon instance game instance weapon object to process the traits. So you pass in the traits, you loop through them, and then we create a new trait, save the values over to that new trait, then push that new trait into the traits parameter attribute, whatever they call it, of the game instance weapon object. And that seems to fix the problem. The other problem was because of this. So not specifically this, but because of how we were managing this. The way that this was intended to be used was to pass a negative value to subtract and a positive to add. Well, I wasn't actually sending through a negative value. I was sending through a positive value. So just to fix the fix for that was just to call that and then pass through a negative value. So just the experience times -1, wherever that was at. Yeah, that was up here. The change experience thing. Somewhere. No, not there. Yeah, it was supposed to be down here. Wow. Okay. Where was it? At the top. Yes. No. Maybe so. So we got EXP cost. Weapon change EXP cost. Where did I change that somewhere? Did I unchange it by accident? Maybe I unchanged it by accident. Let me see. Where are we calling that for? Let's see. This dot underscore, or this dot underscore wep dot change exp. That's the only place I'm calling it from. Alright, I guess I accidentally removed it, so we'll add it back in. The other thing I've been trying to do this morning after fixing that was put in a gold window. As you can see, that's kind of in there, but it's not really 100% there yet. And there's also some issues with the drawing of them that's causing a bit of a problem. So what I'm going to do with this is I just want to take that, I just want to override the refresh, I think. Eventually I'll have to go through and maybe find a better window class to base this off of. Right now I'm using window selectable. We'll do it without passing anything, so that should maybe possibly work now. The other issue was the size, the window size. What I want to do is I actually want to make this a bit smaller. Well, if I do that, then we have to deal with the way we're drawing those items. I think. Because the way we were drawing those items is by the graphics or graphics height or not. So draw requirements, that's fine. Draw action items. So update rect. Well, maybe not. I thought I was using graphics, getting the entire size of the graphics for that, but maybe I'm not. So maybe we can change the size and not have it well, we'll see what happens. We'll just change the size of it. I want to pull it up a little bit. So that's a lot of room for this. Even with what we're planning in terms of like maybe item requirements here for certain things, the level up window doesn't need to have all of that. So maybe we can even just make it. Well, the other issue I have with this is that once we get to a sufficient amount of characters up here, it's going to be an issue too. Not that one. I meant to change the level window tag. Well, not tag, the label. For XP to remove that, so we get one extra character. I guess we could reduce the font size to 18. What else can we do to make this so it's handles a bit more, a few more characters than what it does now? What I was thinking about was changing this a little bit too, because if we shrink this down a bit, say make this 3 across instead of 4, and move it over a little bit, we could pull this out a bit. But at the same time, if there's a bunch of parameters being added in for that particular level, then that's going to be an issue with it running over stuff. And so I think it's just knowing is all hell. Let's go ahead and do the height change on this window, though. We're not high enough yet. Alright, window, create, blacksmith prototype, create, level up window, graphics height divided by 1.5. Let's make this 2. Let's make it half of the size of the screen. Now, let's go ahead and load this up and see what those changes do. Okay, gold is being displayed, but the window is friggin' huge. Okay. Yeah, that's really large, though. That's going to be a problem. So what we could do is maybe we could hide maybe we can hide the help text, the help window, and put the gold window up there, because we need more length on this. This is not, I thought this might work, but it's going to be, we either have to make this like 18 or 16, which is like this small, and I mean, it's. I guess you can read it, but it's just kind of annoying. Or we can put it up here and give it whatever length we want to, and we'd also have other more room up here for other things like maybe like if you have like a weapon or item or something that you're requiring for something, put it up there as well. But at the same time, this is like a nice little spot for the gold here. I'd rather utilize this space than leaving it not there, which either means bringing this all the way down or putting something here. Let's go ahead and see what it looks like with the gold thing in there. Let's go, well, first of all, we need to go to create gold window, or party gold, or whatever I called it, up here. Create gold window. So, the height. Graphics height minus H. And H is graphics height minus graphics height divided by 1.5. Okay, let's decrease. Well, let's see. We want to take more off, so let's make this 2.5. There's probably a better way to do this, but whoa, interesting. I did not know F4 made it go full screen. Learn something new every day by pressing wrong keys. Well, that didn't work. No, less. We want less, not more. Crap. We want a higher value, not a lower value. That might be too low, though. We'll see. Well, maybe not. We're dividing by a decimal. Okay, yeah. That's like down here somewhere. You kind of see the arrow for it or something. It's like really messed up. Because it's graphics height minus H too. That's the other thing. So how do we? Well, see, the problem with this is that when we go to create this, because we need to create it for every one of these. And it would be easier just to create it up here instead of having to create it and then have like multiple ways of like doing the height and everything depending on the size of the window. I'd rather just have it down here, be able to make it and have it work for everything. So we need to figure out a different thing for Y, because graphics height minus H isn't working. Probably because this ended up making this a larger value. We subtracted it and became negative or something. So how do we want to do this? So the height is, let's just say the height is going to be like 85. We'll give it an 85 and somehow the X has no semicolon. So now what what Y will be is the graphics height minus 85. And that's where the window will start at. Let's see. What's that look like? Okay, better. That's actually kind of close. That's actually kind of what I was aiming for. Now, what we have to do is, actually we could probably do a little bit less, because this doesn't seem like it's centered very well. I want it to look like it's centered, so we actually could go a little bit less, I think. Maybe 78. And then we'll also change the text size. Or this dot contents dot font size. We'll set it to 16 to start with, and we'll see what it looks like. And we'll also go over to the the slime and get some gold so we can kind of see what it looks like with an actual value as opposed to 0. Alright. So I guess that's okay. It's really small text though. Let's put it up to 18. Or actually, let's put it at 20. I think before it was the default, which I think is like 26 or 28. So I think 20 might be good. Question is now, what about with higher levels of gold? What will that look like? So I only had 800 before or something like that, so we need to get more. So we need to click on this guy a few more times. I want to have at least 5 or 6 digits on the gold. It's not an unreasonable amount of gold to have in an RPG. And in fact, it's usually about 6 digits is about max what you usually will be able to do. Unless you're like just grinding the hell out of it. Well, it's more readable now. You might even be able to get to 22. Okay, so we got these here. Looks like there's probably enough room for another 3 there. So that would put you at 1 million. So I think we could probably do 22 without it looking too weird. And that might also line it up a bit better as well. Actually, wait a second. I'm going to go ahead and change this. It's kind of annoying just sitting there and like clicking it all the time, so. Or I was going to give 100,000 of each. Less clicks that way. My mouse has already been abused by clicking games. Doesn't need to be abused by this stuff. Alright, so go over here, then go over here once. Now let's go have a look and see what we have. Nah, that's interesting. Property 1 is undefined. What's going on? That was weird. That should not have happened. Oh, we selected the sword. That's why. There must be some issue with that in terms of the. So you could probably even go even more because that's 6 there and it's still pretty small. Okay, let's go to 6 then. So that's another thing. Maybe there should also be something in the note tag to have weapons that wouldn't be a part of the system. So it wouldn't be able to level up or anything like that. So that's something to consider as well. Alright. Okay, now this is getting crushed. That's what's happening there. So let's take this. There. I bet you I think it goes way over the edge now. This dot text. I need to switch all of them over to this. It's just a much cleaner way of doing the text width without having to futz around with it so much. Yeah, that's what I thought. So that's 26. I'm betting 22 is probably the max we'll want to do. And actually on the Y, let's go ahead and make that 5. Push it down a little bit so it's a little more centered. I don't want to make the window any smaller than that. That's better. Centered. Actually, it's a little bit more than, a little bit lower than center now. Maybe 3. And it looks like it'll be a good fit for the size. Just to play devil's advocate, what if we have 1,000,000 gold? What's that going to look like? So I'm thinking about making a limit breaker, but I guess he wouldn't. It wouldn't be. I guess he could use it with this at the same time, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One more for good measure. All right, so let's see. We should have 1,100,000 gold. That barely fits in the window. So depending on sizes, and actually we could actually get a little bit more in by taking the space out, which I think I will do. Good, so it's pretty much centered now. So that looks pretty good. You kind of see what your gold is, what's going to cost. Got your experience over here. Got the level, durability, all that stuff. So now to show that it actually does work properly now. Actually, I'm just going to get rid of all the breakpoints. Or of the breakpoint, I guess. There's only one of them. I said to remove all other breakpoints. There's only one. Alright, continue. Oh, and I fixed the first window as well. I'll show you what I mean in a second. So, here we are with this one. Now if I come out here, we'll only have one weapon, so let me go grab another. So now we have our initial stats here. Oh look, no we don't. We have the same problem with the parameters now. I did not notice that. Now that we're actually correctly increasing them, yeah, we're going to do the same thing with the parameters. Damn. Okay. No problem. Just gotta kind of re-engineer what we're doing with this. So, when we are adding the parameters, we are just adding them like that. So we'll need to do a process traits. Well, process params first because there's some stuff in the traits that will, like the param traits that will impact that. So this dot process params, and then weapon dot params. Let's get rid of that. And then we'll build that function. Okay, so parameters. How are these actually set up in this? Just need the break so I can get in here. So data weapons, params. Okay, so they're in the same order. So 0 to 7. So we can just loop through them that way. All right. Wanted to make sure that was the case. So game instance weapon dot prototype dot process params and equals function db params. So for var 1 equals 0, I want is less than so it would be db params dot length and then var perm equals 0. Parm equals db params I1, and then this dot underscore base params equal I1 equals parm, and that's all we have to do. That should divorce the parameter objects from each other and stick them only and make them only associate to the weapon that they're a part of. Anything else like that we have to deal with. So anything that's like a anything we're bringing in that's a some sort of object or an array that's not just a not strictly a value. We'll need to do something like that for, I think. But I think that's the only thing. Everything else is pretty much just a straight value. Alright, so as you can see, the traits weren't there. That's the other thing, so that was fixed. So now, continue. So yeah, this window, I fixed this window. Actually, the level line can go up a little bit, I think. It's a little bit too low. Now, before this like was all jumbled together in places. Also added the proper durability over here. So, next, what should we do next? I guess refinement. I believe that's the next menu option. Refine, yeah. So refining is going to happen once your weapon reaches the max level you set in the tag, and it's still haven't determined what it's actually going to do. And it's going to make so you'll have refinement +1, and it'll show up as Katana of Darkness +1 in any kind of item lists that you have. So like it would show up here as +1, I think, is what will make it, if it is a +1. But I'm thinking that it's going to, for every refinement level you have on it, it's going to improve whatever stats it has. So it's not going to give you stats, but it's going to improve things marginally for what you do have. So for example, if we went, if this was up to, let's go ahead and level this up to 10. Actually, screw that. Just disable that breakpoint. So we're at level 10 now. I can still level up though because except everything breaks. We didn't. Oh yeah, we have to. Let's do that. We need to implement the max level thing, so we can't do that. So I think it'd be better to have it disable this option. So that's on the action pane. On the wrong object. Wrong file, rather. Action pane, action pane. We went by it. Okay, here we go. So we don't actually have the weapon here, so we're going to need to pass